Welcome to the MessInShow podcast. I am the host, Messy Gravis, that loves to keep it gross. And I'd like to welcome you guys to another episode of the MessInShow podcast, where it's me, Messy Gravis, and I'm just a simple man, just talking random shit, just doing whatever the hell I want. I can say whatever I want on my show, so this is the best thing I can do. Because a lot of people, not really curve me, but, like, I don't know. There's a lot of shit that I say that people get offended, and it's all jokes. Like people think, like I'm a racist sometimes, but it's just jokes, shit like that. And I think it's funny. I'll stare into that all day. If you can think whatever you want to think about me. But again, yeah, that's just me, doing the messy Gravis thing. And I got a show coming up next Friday that we're going to be releasing. So stay tuned for that later when I plug that. But yesterday was a good 420, man. I'm recording this the day after 420, so we're going to make sure you guys did that, smoked it up. I had a pretty good 420. My buddy Aaron, shout out Aaron Stevens, he got married on a ball field, which was kind of cool. They did a whole thing of what do you call it? The ball. It's like a themed wedding, but it was like on the ball field with no fence behind. It was an open field, and it was kind of cool because it was all Chicago Cub themed. And I was like, it's sad that Indiana doesn't have a professional baseball team that they can strike their team over. We can get upset about, but shit that happens all the time. I don't know. I'm really high and rambling still after 420 because, man, I drank a lot of Crown Peach and Sprite on ice. You mix that up, man. Woo! That's a good drink. And I just realized my lights are not as bright. Oh, my other light is off. So this is gonna be a weird episode. It's gonna be a little duller than the other ones. Maybe I can fix that in post. But no, I was going to talk about some 420 stories. Because yesterday was a good 420, and it had me thinking about all the other 420s I've had. I've had a lot of weird 420s. One was 420-99. That was the year that Columbine happened. 99, are you out of your mind? That's when Columbine. And my buddy Joey Pointer, shout out, and we had this bunch of weed, and that's what we were supposed to do. We were going to take it to to school. You either smoke it, sell it, have a good 420. Mr. Reaney trying to catch us with school lighters and shit, and we had but the day before, my buddy Mike got into a fight with this kid on the basketball court, and his name was John Doolin, the AKA Chopper. I don't know why I remember that, but I just remember they called him Chopper. Maybe because it was a gun. Chopper is known as a gun. And I remember they were playing basketball court. Mike got sucker punched in the back of the head by Chopper. They got a little scruffle. People stopped. And then Mike didn't really he never not a troublemaker in school, so he didn't get suspended or anything. I think he just got in-school suspension for it, ISS. Well, John Doolin, he has some priors, for school. He was a guy that would throw, get caught. Because by the time I got out to McConaughey, I learned how not to get caught. Because I moved from Kokomo out to McConaughey, and a lot of those farm people, like Tyler Burkholder, man, whew, rest in peace. That dude, he taught me how not to get caught, if that makes sense. Even though he got caught all the time. But oh man, I miss that dude. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, and so he got John Doolin sucker punched Mike, and John Doolin got expelled for that. Well, on his way out, the rumor was that on his way out, you hear you screaming and yelling like he pushed the principal. Because back then, man, like, you didn't challenge authority like that. Like, I remember, like Josh Murray in middle school, like swung at the principal. Like, that was fucking big news, man. Like, oh my God, did you hear Josh Murray swung on the principal? Like that was, now, they fucking pull guns and murder him and shit nowadays. But that was, I remember that when that happened. And so John Doolin, he got kicked out of Mechanical, and he was like, man, fuck this place. I'm going to come back tomorrow and blow this motherfucker up. Just like that. And so then the next day, Columbine happened on 420, while me and my buddy Joey are bringing weed. We have weed in our lockers at Mechanical in 99, over 20 years ago. To let you know, that's what we would do shit, man. Like, man, I sold a bunch of shit Mechanical. You have no idea, Mechanical. They have cameras now, dude. I would have been to jail and shit if they had cameras and shit when I was in school there. Shit. And so what we did, me and my buddy Joey, we went to the bathrooms with our weed, and we had Brute cologne. Basically, that's all we had. So we took the weed and sprayed the whole inside the bag, the weed itself, with Brute cologne, and tried to make it smell, not like weed. And then I remember putting it back in the lockers, not our lockers, but like the kids, they had like spare lockers in the other room, in other parts of lockers. So we stuffed it in garbage bags and shoved it in there, just praying that the dogs wouldn't find it, because we saw dogs and we were freaking out. But to find out that they were bomb sniffing dogs, not drug sniffing dogs, which I didn't, you're in fucking 8th grade, I think it was 8th grade. Yeah. Freshman. I think it was a freshman, 99. I can't remember. But it was high school. So yeah, it had to be freshman, it had to be high school. Because it wasn't my sophomore year, because I got expelled my sophomore year too, as well. But, and that was the crazy 420. And I remember the dogs didn't find it, and me and Joey fucking celebrated, and we went and collected our bags, and we took it to our abandoned trailer after school that we partied at. It was different times, and we smoked the Brute weed, as we called it. And man, talk about, I think it was formaldehyde and all the alcohol and all the chemicals and that shit. And we smoked it, man. We loved it. We enjoyed it. I want you to get high on Brute weed on 420. That was a weird 420. I was a freshman in high school. And then after I graduated, it was right before I was going to leave to Arizona in 04. It's 4/20/04. And that's when Kokomo had a tornado on the north end. I remember that. That shit was crazy. That was about the skating park where I got my not my first fight, but my first jumping, I would say. That's the first time I helped somebody jump somebody, was at the skate park. Yeah. I'm a piece of shit, I know. That's what the messy grave is, baby. That's how we did shit in high class, white trash, Kokomo. That's how we do it. But no, I remember that to this day. And, oh man, because they had like, video games and you skate. That's my, when my first time, we had a crush on a girl and you hold her hands and you did the skating shit. And, what the fuck? That's coming out. And, it was 4/20/04, and me, my buddy Mike, we had an idea. It's like, let's smoke from 4:20 a.m. to 4:20 p.m. So we set our alarms, we ate breakfast, we got to sleep early the night before, 4:19, woke up at 4:20 a.m., 4/20/04, and started smoking. Just doing little breakfast bowls and everything. And I remember we were watching a lot of Rob Zombie that day. I don't know why, but I think it was Rob Zombie came out on DVD that year or some shit like that. The House of Thousand Corpses, I think it was, or yeah, Devil's Rejects wasn't out yet. And I remember, man, just being so high that day. I mean, that's the highest I think I've ever been. Because you get early, before the sun comes up, something, it hits different. That shit hits different in the morning. And I remember our buddy Kevin, he getting wasted, and he couldn't hold it anymore. He getting, drunk off weed. Like he was stumbling and shit, and he ended up like throwing up in the trash cans and shit, and we're all making fun of him, going, "Rrr, rrr." And then if you watch Rob Zombie, the end, that weird guy at the end when they're in the fucking caves or whatever the fuck, underground, and he's doing, "Rrr," when you hear that word, takes off his mask and that pus and shit. Man, that end of that movie kind of like Stephen King. Like all of a sudden it gets you hooked and shit. Then all of a sudden the end it's a giant spider. Shit like that. Like, man, it just, that pissed me off. Like, I love that movie too. And I think about the ending of it and I'm like, Yeah, you didn't have to show Dr. Satan. You shouldn't have shown him. I don't think. Because that would be cool. Like he was just a relic. If you were, then you should have set up something like a relic instead of focusing on the family later on in Devil's Rejects. You could have focused on the lore of Dr. Satan. Like his story that Captain Spaulding said, but the true version of that. Because Captain Spaulding could have been lying the whole time. He's a clown. You never trust a fucking clown. Everybody knows that. And but I remember that was the day we got high on 420. We get back to that story. Rob Zombie got me all pissed off, which he's going to do a new Freddy. Get on the different thing on that. And a 42004. But that was the day that tornado hit Kokomo. And you make a long story short, well, I was so high and I thought I hallucinated fucking the tornado hitting the North End skating ring. Like that fucked me up. I remember I'm on Epperson and Gaino, my buddy Zach's house, smoking. Cause we went to every house, hit that house, go to my house, go back to my house, drive around, go to this house, smoke weed over here, hit a bong over here. That was that time we vaped dry weed. That makes sense. Now no one vapes dry weed. It's always wax or anything else kind of resin based weed now. But back then we actually vaped dry weed, actually nugs. You take a nug and you put it in the chamber and shit, and you vaporize it. Load up the volcano, which is a good way to smoke it. And I remember we were just getting so high and watching Rob Zombie so much, and I was like, did we manifest a fucking tornado? Like, because it was, I don't know, it wasn't stormy or nothing that night. It was just, just out of nowhere. And I remember standing on the front porch, just watching it. Like, what the fuck? Like, people going crazy. Like, and the sky was yellow and people just, honking their horns and hitting each other and just trying to get out of the north end. Watching, I'm just looking up at the north end going, or in the sky on the north end going, whoa, dude, there it is. You see it connect and everything. And I'm like, that was one of the coolest shit I ever seen. And it was on 420. Didn't see nothing cool like that yesterday, but, my buddy Aaron got married. Congratulations again. Aaron and Autumn. Autumn was a cool chick. That was I started dancing and shit, not so much dancing, inside, but in my mind I was dancing. But, it was a good wedding. I know Catman was watching, from above, loving it all, trying to make me dance. And, have you guys noticed, have you watched that Bob Marley movie? That One Love? Yeah. I tried to watch that movie and I couldn't finish it. Like, it started off kind of cool, because it was like, I have a theory that, like, kind of like how, like, Bruce Lee, where he wasn't allowed to teach his jiu-jitsu or whatever, his young jiu whatever he was teaching. And so the Chinese people, Chinese, mafia, basically told him, if you teach people this, we will kill you, basically. And a lot of people think that the Chinese mafia, Hong Kong mafia murdered Bruce Lee. There's a lot of stories about that. I'm not speaking out of school, talking about that. But I have a similar thing with Bob Marley, thinking that, maybe like he was trying to preach peace through music, and the Jamaican people did not want white people to have peace through music. I have a theory, and he's kind of like the Bruce Lee of music. Instead of karate and shit like that, instead of young Jew whatever. That sounds so racist trying to do it that way. I'm just gonna call it karate, whatever Bruce Lee, whatever style he was teaching. But because I see Bruce Lee more as a philosopher than as a fighter, because I love, like, be like Wata, and this smoke break is brought to you by ShopOuthouse.com. Throw a bunch of different shit in a hole, and what do you get? You get Outhouse Records, where you go to ShopOuthouse.com, official Outhouse merchandise, including Blu-rays, movies, posters, t-shirts, and everything that Central Indiana's loudest since 2006 can provide. Go to ShopOuthouse.com. Welcome back to the MessInShow podcast. I am the host, Messy Gravis, back from the smoke break from ShopOuthouse.com, so we can do that. I was smoking a joint similar to this in front of a hotel That'd be non-disclosed. And I'm smoking this, and I've noticed in Kokomo there's been an upkeep of Korean people because they're building the Samsung battery plant right now because everything's going to go battery instead of combustion engine. Or it could still be a combustion engine, just be running off batteries and stuff. I don't know how it fucking works, but we run off batteries. And a lot of Koreans are moving in, but I'm here sitting there, I'm hitting my Pinji. I was like, Pinji ain't cutting it. So I was like, I gotta smoke a joint. So I took it looks like a cigarette. It's like pre-rolled with like a bud on it. So it looks like a cigarette. So it's perfect. You can sit there and it's like, looks like you're hitting it. Well, I'm here hitting it like this. And all of a sudden, this group of Korean people were outside. And he notices me and he smells it. And he's like, huh? And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, you want to try it? I'm like, I do one of these, to show him who he comes by. And he's like, huh? And his English was pretty good. He was like, Mary. And I go, yeah, Mary Jane, brother, Mary Jane. He's like, yeah, Mary. And I'm hitting it. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And he told me I'm a white piece of shit and I should die. And he goes, no. But no, and I start hitting it with him and I start, kicking, not kicking it with him, but basically asking him questions like, you English good? And he's like, yeah. I can, he can go around, he can survive basically. And I'm hitting it. I'm like, good, shit good. And he's like, oh, good. And I'm sitting there hitting it. And I'm basically like, what the, I'm like, I can't believe I'm getting high with the Korean guy. I turned to him, I said the stupidest shit. I go, hey, this shit's going to turn you Chinese. And they had no idea what the fuck. He's like, yeah. They had no idea what I'm talking about. But basically, a lot of them are showing up here and they're just renting hotels. And when they get the plant built, a lot of them are going back. So I was like, oh man, I was hoping a lot of them would stay. Get some homes and shit. But he said majority are going to go back. Don't blame him to go live in racist Indiana. I wouldn't want to. I'm forced to live here. As soon as I get out of here, I can. Shit. I can't wait to go back to my home of Arizona in the desert where I am the Lizard King. But yeah, that was another thing on that. The hotel was nice. Very lovely hotel. I can't disclose which one it is. But a lot of Koreans are in every hotel in Kokomo. It's crazy. Right? Overrun. So I can't wait till we have a good barbecue. Some good Korean barbecue. That's what I'm talking about. And speaking of Koreans, Caitlin Clark. No, that makes no sense. Speaking of basketball, no. Speaking of slants, no. Slants in the wood, no. Anyway, Caitlin Clark. No idea. I know she's signed up she's going professional for the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. I don't know what college she played for. No one really, I don't keep track of WNBA stuff, but I don't know. People are making a big deal about this Caitlin Clark chick. No idea. And I like watching the clips of the guy creeping her out and stuff, where he's like, yeah, you do the heart thing. And he's like, yeah, if you do it to me too, yeah. And he's like, man, he's hitting on her right now, man. I don't get it. And I don't know. I don't see people. I don't know. What's the big deal? Like, can she dunk? Is that the thing? Like, that'd be cool. Like, she comes in and starts dunking on people. If that's the one thing that they're, doing. I don't get it. Like, if I know she already signed a shoe deal, like, more than, Tyrese Halliburton, which Pacers, man, we're going to win this year. We're going to go to the fucking finals, man. It's going to be Lakers, the rematch. Lakers, Pacers. Because that city tournament shit that we lost, we got our asses whipped by the Lakers. We're going to come back and we're going to beat them. Halliburton going to get him running, son. And, that's how Pacers basketball is supposed to be. So I hope that Caitlin Clark chick, I hope she does some, bring some heat to the Fever. If that makes sense. That'd be cool if she does like the little white girl, the only little white girl that can dunk in basketball. She's dunking on everybody, like 7-foot Ethiopian women, that can't dunk. That's the future, man. That's the future. I don't know, man. I wonder if WNBA tickets are they more expensive now? Because since she, signed up and she's like the savior of the WNBA. I don't know. I never got in. Last time it was like what? Lisa Leslie. It was the last time I watched a WNBA game when she played. And I don't know. I was too busy watching YouTube trailers, and I got a hold of this one trailer, the Trap trailer. Have you seen that? With the M. Night Shyamalan movie that's coming out? Yeah, I guess I'm the M. Night fan. I didn't like that Knock at the Cabin. Like, it was the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Oh, that's the twist. Like, Dave Bautista just sounded like an old Indian to me, and it was just driving me nuts. Hey, how far the spirits of the hawk of the wind will blow, and you will know the Four Horsemen. Oh my God, man, just give me more Drax. Give me more of that. I like his comedy better. He's a way better comic, I think, or comedy timing, I should say, than he is, trying to be a drama role. But this Trap trailer, it had me from the beginning. Because, Josh Hartnett, fuck yeah, I can't wait till Josh Hartnett gets his comeback. I've been waiting for a comeback, since The Faculty, baby. I get to wear the long sleeves with my thumbs through him again, looking all cool and shit. Can't wait till that look comes back. Come on, Josh, bring it back, baby. And I'm sitting there watching this trailer, and it's father and daughter, and he's taking her to her favorite concert. He gets her favorite seat. He's messing with her like, oh, let me tie my shoe first, and shit like that. And, messing with her, like what dads do. Something I would do to Lilith. She wants to see her favorite band. I'm just procrastinating it. And then he gets in there and he's like, oh, sets her up. He's like, I'm gonna go use the bathroom, and he goes to the merch booth, and he noticed first he's walking to the bathroom, and he notices like there's cops setting up extra cameras. And he's like, why is there extra cameras around here? What the fuck? He looks up and there's more people, like tanks coming in. You get a shot from the outside and there's like a bunch of SUVs coming up, rolling, and you're like, like they're getting ready to raid the place. And Josh Hartnett walks up to the merch booth table guy who has a lot of information. And he was very friendly. And he had a lot, like way too, that's the one thing I didn't, it was kind of creepy. But he did the cool shot too, like where it's like dead on. Looking, and he goes, hey, buddy. And the merch guy's like, hey, what's up? Josh Hartnett goes to the merch guy, what's going on? What's up with all the police? And the merch guy goes, don't rat me out. Don't tell on me. But, you know that butcher guy? He's been butchering people up, And Josh Hartnett, without a beat, is like, yeah. Well, apparently the FBI has been following him, and they have information that he's going to be here tonight, and all this show tonight is a trap for him. And you're like, whoa, and you feel like, oh shit, like he has to get back to his daughter. That's the first thing I thought of, was like, oh man, he needs to get back to his daughter. Like, that's what's going to be, like, his daughter's going to get kidnapped by the killer. That's the first thing I thought of, like, oh, that'd be a cool little twist, and you don't know who the killer is and shit like that. And I was like, that's instantly what I thought of, like, okay, this is going to be like, like a Taken movie, with what's his name, with the soy sauce hair. And but it wasn't. All of a sudden he goes into the bathroom, Josh Hartnett, and he goes into the bathroom and he looks at his phone, and he has like his his camera service, like on my phone. Like, I have a Blink camera. You can check from your camera, or check your camera from your phone. Like, it's an app you can download and check your camera live feed. And that's what he does. He goes to the bathroom, looks into his live feed onto his camera, but it's like an old Indian guy, like, Chinese guy, and he's all like tortured, or he's being tortured, and he's like held captive. He's like, please let me out. Hey, out. And Josh Hartnett's like looking down at it. He's like smiling, Josh Hartnett's the killer. I was like, what? Okay. I go, and that's M. Night Shyamalan. So I'm like, there's got to be a fucking twist that he always does. But, I was like, that's the hook. That's not the twist. So that's interesting what he's going to do, because now he's got me hooked. Because he already gave away the twist. And the way that weird Josh Hartnett like looks into the camera and does that little smile and he does, oh man, I can't wait to be, like Josh Hartnett come back as a serial killer in M. Night Shyamalan movie. I want his agent, man. He's doing good. Not like fucking Quentin Tarantino, who fucking doesn't want to do his fucking critic movie now. He decided he doesn't want to do it anymore. Apparently Jay Sherman, was too much for him. Apparently John Lovitz's character, Lovely Jay Sherman, the best critic in the world, best movie critic, it was just too much. He couldn't investigate. It was too large of a story, which I love that. If you ever watch that cartoon, my favorite part of those shows, every time they cut to a picture of him, like, hey, film critic Jay Sherman, it's always a picture of him like 800 pounds. It's like a big blob. It's never the size of what he is actually, drawn as. It's always, like Jabba the Hutt. It's not like, I love little comedy shit like that. Every time they go do a picture of him, and that's how they see you all the time. But no, Quentin Tarantino, which, see, he backed himself into a corner. I think. I don't think it's gonna be his last movie, because he said he's gonna do his 10 movies and he's gonna be out. I'm gonna do my final. I'm gonna be 10 for 10, but no one's 10 for 10. Like even Kevin Smith, he said he's gonna quit doing movies and shit like that. And look what he did. He's still doing movies. He's doing his Clerks, and Jay Silent Bob is getting ready to do another one. Which I'm like, is Quentin. He just backed himself in the corner. I don't know why he would say something that stupid, because he's gonna find a loophole eventually. Because he's gonna do like if he does do his 10th movie and it's a success, and he can have his John Elway moment. That's what he's trying to have, try to retire with 2 Super Bowls and just ride into the sunset. That's what he wants as a director. But it's easier said than done. Like even John Elway's talked about. He wanted to play. Even after he retired, but he can't stop. You can't stop, Quentin. Like you're one of my favorite directors. What you ever notice too, on another note, beat real quick, Christopher Nolan directed Oppenheimer, right? Which is about the atomic bomb, the creation of it. His brother directs the new series Fallout, which is on Amazon Prime, about the fallout of the nuclear war. Conspiracy, get your tinfoil hats on. Speaking of, no, I'm joking. But no, yeah, Quentin Tarantino, that dude, I'm waiting for it. I can't wait whatever he does next. I'm going to watch anyway, so hopefully whatever he does, I'm going to watch it. And I hope he does new movies, because he's going to do it. He's going to find a loophole, because after he does it, he's going to have an itch, and he's like, well, let me do like a Grindhouse thing where I do a movie, you do a movie, or something. Like I'll direct part of it, or you direct the other half, and I'll direct the first half, and then just direct another movie, Quentin. Quit being an asshole and fucking do it. And quit being like fucking Jim Brewer and Roseanne, conspiracy theory shit. No. Speaking of, have you guys seen that? I highly recommend watching that. It's the Roseanne Barr's podcast on YouTube with Jim Brewer. And basically Jim Brewer admits that Dave Chappelle was a clone when he met in 2006, I want to say, 2006. Yeah, because Jim Brewer is like, they was good friends, and they did the Home Improvement spinoff of the show called Buddies. And Jim Brewer is, known for his stand-up comedy. So is Dave Chappelle. Jim Brewer is a good storyteller, so is Dave Chappelle. Like there's kings of it. Like I love Dave Chappelle, like the way he lure you in, different, and Jim Brewer is the same way. He can keep you on and on and on and on. And Jim Brewer has more highs, than Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's the win and then hits you at the end. But I loved it. I love every minute of it. But yeah, that podcast was insane. I mean, and I have this theory too. Get your tinfoil hat on again, and I think after 2006, because you notice after he left and then he came back, he disappeared, and about 10 years, 10, 11 years. And I've hung out with a lot of stand-up comedians, and they've always told me, when you do stand-up, you're out, every day, every weekend, every weekend, try to do it every weekend. Hit open mic, try to do your 5 minutes, a minute here, a minute there, anywhere. Just work on something fucking funny. He says about 10 years, you'll finally find your voice in 10 years. And I thought that was weird. And then Dave Chappelle disappeared for 10 years. And then now his voice is different. Like the style of his is slightly, it's not the old Dave Chappelle. Because you can argue all day. Like he's more preachy than when he was back then. Like he was more absurd, like the baby on the corner and shit like that. Like I loved his older shit. Killing Them Softly, one of the best fucking specials of all time. But I thought that was weird. So think about that. Jim Brewer's onto something, because he said, when he got really famous and he left for, Africa, he didn't tell his wife. He just told his brother. So that means you're running from something. You're running. And then all of a sudden he comes back and he goes, Jim Brewer, because Jim Brewer's like, you just watch it. It's crazy. He's like, you believe me, Jim? You believe me, right, Jim? Like, I've been visited, but they've been corrected. They wanted to correct me. That's some scary shit, bro. So, oh man, that shit is woo. What do you think? You think Dave Chappelle's a clone? I don't know. Like and subscribe at the bottom below. What's up, man? No. But yeah, that's all I got today. And I'm coming out the show. Oh shit, where's my phone at? Yeah, this Friday, North End Pub and the Pisser, Friday, April 27th, 26th, whatever the fuck it is. I can't remember what one of those days. It's Friday. Google it. North End Pub, Master Hunter, Pib at the Pusser. Pisser at the pub. Thank you guys. Have a good fucking weekend. I hope you had a good 420, and I'll see you next week. Peace.